was a good ball played in for Tony Morley. Oh, he missed it! It is! Peter Ward! Villa in the lead!
Hello, Aston Villa fans, and welcome to the Villa Forever podcast. After a summer break, I am finally back again with the podcast content. I am your host, Chad Williams. Please subscribe. Make sure to give me a follow and give this video the thumbs up. Let's spread awareness of Duchenne muscular dystrophy. On today's interview episode, I'm joined by my special guest, Gregg Evans, who is a writer for The Athletic and is a regular on the 1874 podcast, and we have Matt Maher, who's a chief sports writer for the Express Star. I'll be interviewing Gregg and Matt about their new book release, Waking the Giants, Inside the Rebirth of Aston Villa. And this book describes Aston Villa's rise back to the top from relegation all the way through the championship years to the Unai Emery era, showing the club's remarkable transformation. I'm pleased to have both of you on the show today. How are you?
Very well, Chad. Very well.
Good. Thanks, Chad. Thanks for having us on.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say congratulations, both of you, on this book. You both of you worked really hard. And actually, I'll show you on the screen. And very kindly, Greg sent me a copy not long ago. The Villa fans, if you haven't read this book, you must go and read it. It's a must read. And really, I mean, it really shows like how far the club have come over the last few years. Because there has been a lot of dark times, but also turning points. And to get to where we are now, which is incredible. And Greg, you've covered Aston Villa for a long time in the past, which must have been amazing for you.
Yes, and Matt, that was the reason that we decided to write the book together, because we've pretty much covered Aston Villa for the same period, give or take a few months on either side.
Yeah.
So we felt we were best positioned to write this book, and the feedback has been amazing so far. And thanks for your kind words there, Chad. Also.
Yeah, absolutely.
No problem. I was going to get into the interview then. So, there's a question for both of you. What inspired both of you to write this book?
Well, it essentially came, as a lot of the best ideas do, from a conversation in the pub. After, I think it was around about a few months into Unai Emery's reign, when it looked like Villa were going to qualify for Europe, as they did through the Conference League, and we'd been to covering a game in London, and I think we went. I remember going out for a couple of drinks afterwards, and we were just saying how mad kind of the whole story had been up to that point, and obviously with what happened in 2018 when the club nearly went, bankrupt, to getting promoted, to staying up, the Great Escape, and then being in a position to get into Europe, which would have been a 5-year span at that point. It's pretty crazy. I mean, that doesn't happen very often. And I think we both said at the time, we kind of know, we both know different people and know some of the same people as well. But we could do a really good story. It was basically one of those almost throwaway comments from I think Greg said, could be a book in this, but you never think that it's gonna happen. And then after Villa qualified for the Champions League, Greg was approached by publisher HarperCollins, Harper North, so it all came from that, really. It's been a bit of it's been, as you know, Chad, it's been a crazy ride, hasn't it?
Well, it's been the club. It's been a real journey. I mean, you go back all the way to 2018. Then you got like players like John McGinn, the likes of Tyrone Mings. Players like that have been on a journey with us ever since. And even, I'm going back to even say Dean Smith. Don't get me wrong, Unai Emery took us to the next level. But if it wasn't for Dean Smith, none of this would have been possible. We would have got to where we are today.
That's right, yeah, and we were very keen to tell the story of those slightly earlier years, even though a lot of the better achievements, shall we say, have taken place under Unai Emery. The club was in a very, very bad position for quite some time, and you need to have those stepping stones to get to where the club are today. So we were really keen to tell that story, and yeah, when we interviewed John McGinn and Tyrone Mings, both of them went into detail on some of those early years and just what had to happen really to help Villa get to where they are now. And there's one key quote that we've referenced a couple of times now from Mings, where he said, you have to go through the hard times to get to the good times sometimes, and that's very much been the case for Villa.
And there's so many times during this journey that you went on, you could have ended so differently. Because I do believe that things happen for a reason. You look at that time in 2018, when Fulham beat us in that playoff final. But it's good job that season, we wasn't ready to go up. But then the following season, Dean Smith got the job done.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think you look at it's a bit, it's kind of it's almost like a metaphor for life, isn't it? We always look at the big things, but a lot of the time it's the little things that make the difference. There's things that you don't really think about at the time, but actually were much more significant when you reflect years on. And like you're absolutely right, Chad. I mean, there's been so many twists in this story where things could have gone the other way. I mean, at West Bromwich Albion appointed Dean Smith manager in 2018, the summer of 2018, rather than Darren Moore, the whole landscape of West Midlands football could look very different. I mean, they nearly signed Tyrone Mings, head of Villa, as well, Albion. So it's kind of, and that's just a couple of examples.
I did see the book actually as well. He spoke about Jack Grealish. You know that time that we stayed up on the very final day. Grealish might have left then.
Absolutely.
But luckily we kept him.
Yeah, there are lots of instalments in Jack Grealish's Aston Villa career, and moments where he could have left at different times. We detail the approach and the noise around Tottenham Hotspur when Tottenham tried to sign Jack. Manchester United also had a look a little bit later, and also Manchester City. And there is a whole entire chapter dedicated to Grealish's record-breaking £100 million exit with contributions from himself as well. So it was great to talk to him and get to hear some of the thoughts about why he made that move.
Because I'm always grateful for what Jack Grealish did for the club. I know there's some fans that are mixed opinions at the way he left, but for me, Aston Villa is always his boyhood club. And it always will be.
Yeah, no, I think that the difference, the thing with Jack is he's both a big Villa supporter, but he's also an immensely talented professional footballer, and that's his job. Yeah, I actually think, it's in the book, and I think I've wrote a comment piece at the time he left. I think he's great. One of his great skills, and I think anyone who's ever met him would say he's very real, and that makes him seem very accessible. There's not many players. There's not many professional sportsmen who can have that connection with supporters, with their fan base that Jack Grealish had with Villa, because he felt like he was everybody's son, everybody's brother, and when that person leaves, it makes it harder for everyone. So I think actually he's great, one of his great kind of personality traits, kind of almost has worked against him and made it hard. But I think you're absolutely right. I mean, I think he's, there's no, he's the most significant player in the last 10 years at Aston Villa. Because
and who knows? I mean, he might come back to Villa, say, to retire in the future. Maybe we don't know. Do it maybe.
Stranger things have happened, certainly.
Yeah. Also, during that journey that I was going about as well, in so different owners. You look at the Tony X days. You got I think the real turning point was when Wes Edens and Matthew Suarez took over. Even the likes of Christian Persson, they all contributed as well.
I just noticed Greg disappeared. Is he?
Yeah.
Is he still here?
Lost him for a second. Yeah.
All right, I'll take the. So you were saying about the owners. Yeah, absolutely. I mean that is the critical moment. Is into the summer of 2018 when the club is at at serious risk, days away from going into administration, has run out of cash. It's a really, really serious situation. And then at the 11th hour, these two billionaires arrived to save the day. And I think that was. I'm sure Greg, would agree. Well, I know he agrees because we spoke about it a lot. But we really wanted to tell the full story, full story as much as we could about the summer of 2018. A lot of this detail that had never been told before. So that's in the book because it is the most one of the most significant points in Villa's entire
it's a turning point.
History. Absolutely.
So what was the reason behind the title of the book? It's a great title for the book.
It was down to the banner, wasn't it, on the in Villa Park, Matt?
Yeah, no, but it was they had the banners outside the stadium. Not last season, the season before. The Giant is awake. And so I think I was sat in Cherry Red's cafe in central Birmingham, fine establishment, by the way, and just trying to, just mulling over, title ideas. And I was thinking, well, how do you sum up the whole kind of story? And I kind of thought, well, that banner, the Giant is awake, that kind of, and then flip it round to, kind of waking the Giant because inside the Rebirth. I can't remember if it was inside the Rebirth initially or whether that got changed. But yeah, I mean, and it has. That's exactly what it is. I know. People will say, well, they've got to win a trophy before they can be properly awake. But I mean, from where the club was 7 years ago to where it is now, quarterfinals.
I don't think we are where we belong. I don't think. Look at Aston Villa. We should be consistently at least a top 6 club. That's where I see us to be for years to come. We need to keep trying to get the Champions League, sort of knocking on the door in Champions League. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think most Villa supporters would agree. They've had the taste of the Champions League now. For the younger supporters that had never experienced playing in Europe's elite competition, fans of a slightly older generation will remember the 1982 European Cup win, of course, and then not so long ago for some of the fans around the people around our age, I suppose. Remember, Martin O'Neill's time at the club when Villa were consistently in Europe, and before that as well. Lots of European
Oh,
nights.
that's Baltimore now.
Did you? Nice. How was that experience?
He's a lovely guy. I remember it was during I went to Icons. I used to go to Icons as a service user. I remember, I think it was a Christmas, I think. And they come in with the players and like that, yeah. Yeah, I'll never forget those days, yeah. That's special as well.
Yeah, I think the club touched a lot of hearts around that time. Fantastic the work that they did with Acorns. Gabby Agbonlahor was very good around that point as well, with on hospital visits and connecting with patients and users. So and obviously Martin O'Neill was the manager at the time, so he was in, he led and overseen everything. So yeah, and I think the club, under Randy Lerner, it's often forgotten that they sacrificed a shirt sponsor for an entire season. I think perhaps maybe even longer, to have
one
a
of the first
bust
teams to
on
do
the
it.
front, which was exactly, yeah. So
apart from Barcelona.
Yeah, and look,
Yeah.
Chad, you firsthand experienced it, so we hear and see the stories, but you had the actual experience, so you can talk to us more about it.
So I was going to ask you, so how long did it take to write the book?
I mean, to actually write it, it's quite surprising when we tell people this, they're actually gobsmacked, really. But we were given like a very tight sort of 3-month deadline to hit, and we did it. Probably at the sacrifice of my health and potentially Matt's as well.
Yeah.
There were some long days and nights. And I just, well, me and my wife had just had a little boy as well, so he was only a few months old when we were doing it. So there was, a lot of sleepless nights as well. So yeah, it was a difficult time, but I always say it took us 3 months to write it, but it probably took us a decade really to piece it all together in terms of covering the club.
And in the end, it was worth it.
Yeah, absolutely, Chad. And I think that the thing is the writing is one thing, but I mean we are, kind of we are professional writers, so the harder part is the research, is the background, is getting out and speaking to people, because what you find is that people that you've known for a long time, when you do a project like this, is that there was certain things happened at a certain time and they couldn't tell you about them then, but they will tell you about them now. They can go into greater depth when they've got that bit distance to the club. So we were finding out new stuff all the time, remembering stuff that we'd forgotten when we went over the story, and so it was kind of the research is kind of almost a more arduous process. So yeah, I mean it was it was great. It was great fun. As Greg said, I said it was great fun. Maybe I'm looking back at roast tin because it was, it was a really kind of there was some bits that were really good. It was quite stressful as well, but we are still speaking to each other, so it's kind of this. Maybe there were certain points where. What's that, sir?
Tyrone Mings. He did the foreword for the book.
Yeah, no. Well, we actually, so the way the publishing process works is you have to do the deadline was for the first draft, and then you send it off to the publisher, and then they come back with recommendations, queries, any legal issues are addressed. So you then get a bit more time to kind of work, do revisions and what have you. And we actually hadn't spoken to Tyrone when we submitted the first draft because he was still, I think he'd either just come back or he was only and come back from his injury in terms of playing, and he didn't want to, it was something we couldn't set up till a later date. So I think we didn't speak to Tyrone until January, February.
Quite
but
late,
I mean, he's like, there aren't too many. I say too many footballers. I mean, that sounds like a terrible stereotype. There's not too many people, in full stop, who are as articulate as as him. He goes into huge depth in his answers. Very thoughtful guy. As every Villa supporter knows.
He's very humble.
Yeah, and he's been a massive figure. Obviously, McGinn's been there.
Oh, he's a real leader.
Yeah, no, absolutely. McGinn's been there from the start, but I mean, Tyrone Mings is a huge part of the story. And we were delighted, obviously, very grateful for him, for doing the forward, which is really good and contains obviously that, as Greg said earlier, that it's great, that you've got to go through the tough times, sometimes to experience.
Do you remember how hard it was? As a Villa fan, I know that feels, but it'll get past.
Yeah.
Look at it, I never thought would it ever be light at the end of the tunnel. But if you look back at it, you sort of look, we're in the playoffs actually, like, also at Wembley in 2019. And the final whistle, it was relief that we did it.
Yeah.
A lot of the players felt that as well.
Yeah, they would have felt that, definitely, they would have.
Yeah. Well, we've got a big chat. There's a big chapter on that. I mean, that actually was going to be one chapter, was going to be the 10-match winning run, which got them into the playoffs. And then we were going to do
that one. The 10-game winning run. It's when Jack Grealish, remember, he was out injured.
Yeah.
I remember he'd come back from injury. And then we was unstoppable.
Yeah, I mean they were the best team in the division for the last 3 months that season, and carried it on through. It was kind of it's quite rare as well that you kind of get this, particularly with Midlands football clubs, where you can see from some way out what's going to happen. Like even in the April when with a month of the season left, when Villa were heading towards the playoffs and had won 7 or 8 games in a row, it's like that they're going to win. They're going to go up. They're going to win. They're going to win the playoffs. Obviously, West Brom came very close to to knocking them out. But otherwise, if you actually look through those results, this kind of it was relatively comfortable. They just became a machine. And as I was saying, that we originally were going to do one chapter which encompassed all of the 10-match winning run and the playoffs, and then once we'd got everything together, done the research, it was like we've got too much. So
do you remember that Jack Grealish goal? Against Rotherham? I think it was Rotherham away. I think it was.
Yeah.
I also remember the Derby County goal. When the actual game when he first come back from injury.
Yeah.
That was an unbelievable goal, that was.
Yeah, well, that was the game that sparked it all, wasn't it? And you're right. I mean, the Rotherham goal. I mean, I thought that was rightly voted goal of the season. I thought that was that was just sensational goal.
The entire move, wasn't it? Not even the build up to it, but the entire move.
Yeah.
To the goal, I think that's what I liked about it. In the West Brom game, I was actually hitting behind the goal, I was. Where Jed Steele was a hero, he was that night.
You was at the away game, was you? Second leg?
That was it, yeah, the second foot, that was it, leg, yeah.
Yeah, we took quite a tough game for me to write on that because I was a West Brom fan reporting on Aston Villa, so a little bit awkward, shall I say?
Was it difficult for you? Was it hard?
Yeah. Looking back now, it was tough. Yeah, I mean, I want West Brom to win every game. So when they were playing Villa, the team that I'm covering and reporting on, it's slightly awkward because you want the team that you're covering to lose, whereas every other game that I've been to as a Villa reporter, it's different. You want them to win because it's better for your job. It's easier to write about a win. Everybody's happy. So yeah, it was a bit awkward, but from a professional point of view, really, really happy with how that playoff chapter turned out because we spoke to almost every member of the team, as well as the manager, the chief executive, the sporting director, and a couple of fans actually as well. So yeah, we were really happy with that chapter.
remember, I thought the nerves, the players did as well. Because I remember the game, like, it was really tense. And we was actually losing 1-0. And we were just holding on. Get through extra time and get to those penalties.
Yeah, there was about
Yeah.
about a 20-minute period in the second half, wasn't there, when Albion nearly got a second goal. I think Tyrone Mings clear one off the line.
Yeah, that was
it was pretty, and then Chris Brunt got sent off, which changed the whole kind of perspective. But when it gets to penalties, I mean, I think the feeling was when it got to penalties that Villa had blown it by not beating. I think they had 40 minutes to score against 10 men. Sam Johnston saved from Albert Adoma right at the end, didn't he? And you're thinking, well, penalties suits Albion, but as is revealed in the book, actually Villa were all over the penalty shootout. I mean, they couldn't have done any more preparation from the takers, and particularly the goalkeeper you mentioned, Jed Steer.
Did he get the winner? Was it Tammy Abraham, the winning penalty?
Tammy Abraham, yeah. But obviously Jed Steer, the hero, saving 2 penalties, and the research.
Yeah, I remember. He made some brilliant saves that night.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And in the penalty shootout, I mean, the research that had gone into that, was remarkable, really. But it's pretty standard now, I think, for all teams, as we saw last night in the women's Euros.
And Jed Steer, he's a nice guy, he is as well.
Oh, absolutely. One of the very good guys.
I remember not long ago, actually, he was on the Villa Park pitch. I can't remember when it was, but I think it was not long ago, I think.
I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, it was not long ago, I think.
He's often back doing co-commentary, so you might have seen him perhaps speaking up before or after a game. Yeah.
So how much research did you have to do to get the correct information and facts for the book?
Yeah, I think Matt touched on that earlier, and I did a little bit. So I mean, the background of knowledge that we had from covering the club for almost a decade certainly helped as a starting point. Then we probably had maybe a month of looking back through old reports and newspaper cuttings and refreshing our memories on certain topics and periods. And then you've got to cross-reference a lot of the interviews that you do, because sometimes players forget various things. We've had a couple of managers who tend to exaggerate figures because their minds because they've seen so many games and they forget various facts, and so there's a lot of that, cross-referencing things to make sure you have reference. And
proofreading.
Sorry, Chad, say that again, please.
A lot of proofreading.
Oh yeah, a hell of a lot of proofreading.
Yeah,
I mean,
a lot of proofreading.
I mean, we must have read the book back, I don't know, 12 to 15 times ourselves. Which is a lot of effort, a lot of time and effort when you cover 80,000 words plus. And yeah, look, I'm pleased. Having the two of us helped, certainly, because we could both pull each other up on various things that perhaps were wrong or needed amending. And then we had an editing team who went through and checked everything as well. And I'm pleased to say that there's only one error has been flagged to me on the book so far, and it was one of mine, but I'm not going to mention it just in case nobody else.
I'm not aware of this. I'm not aware of this error.
I will tell you when we're off camera.
Right, okay.
One very, very, very small error.
You can't afford any mistakes when it's published. Once it's published, it's too late then.
No, exactly. But look, I mean, I think I think when people read the book and they see how much detail is in there, I think they'll understand that a lot of time and effort went into it.
And there are mistakes in every book. I mean, actually, there's a whole industry of collectors, of collectors devoted to getting first editions, second editions of famous novels, which can include spelling mistakes. I mean, it's
Exactly.
look, yeah. I mean, we don't want any, like it's. I think, as Greg would agree, as journalists, the worst thing is, when you work so hard on something, is a spelling mistake. There's nothing. Well, it's not that sense. Nothing worse. I mean, it drives up the wall. But we're 95,000 words. I mean, no matter how, and actually, without going off on tangent, this is why the publishers do the proof everything as well, because once you've read something so many times, you just start your brain. You start reading what you want to read, if that makes sense. So much that you can't. You stop seeing. So that's why so many. It's about an army of people at HarperCollins have been through it as well.
Well, did you go through it like a fine-tooth comb?
Yes, that would be exactly the phrase.
Yes.
Okay. So I'll go on to the next question now. So let me touch on it a little bit slightly. But how much input did Aston Villa players, ex-players, ex-managers, and Unai Emery have helping you put the book together? So how did it help you?
Yeah, I mean, an incredible amount. I mean, it's our words, but it's their story, really. It's Aston Villa's rebirth from the Championship to the Champions League, in the words of the people that made it happen. So yeah, there wouldn't have been a story there if we hadn't have spoken to all the people. So a huge amount, and look, very grateful to everybody who went and spoke on the record to us. Hundreds of conversations off the record as well, with people that didn't want to be quoted or couldn't be quoted for various reasons. And the current staff at Aston Villa, very, very grateful for all of Unai Emery's time. Damien Vidagane, Tommy Jordan, the head of communications, Tom Trebsky, who's his right hand man in the media team. Without those guys, again, the story wouldn't have been as strong as it is.
Because did you, all the interviews you did you do it in person? Or some on the phone, or whatever?
All different, to be honest. All different. Some were in person, some were on Zoom, some were on the phone. It's whatever. I mean, look, you always, as Greg touched on there, we're very grateful to everybody who contributed, who spoke to us. And really, when you are, looking to speak to someone, you will fit in with whatever works for them. So if somebody says, look, I can't meet you, but we can do something on the phone, then we'll do that. But I'd like to say Dean Smith, just as one example, I think the tape was about 4 hours. So we did a couple of sessions on Zoom, because obviously he's over in the US at the moment. So, Dean was, incredibly generous with his time. And so it's like, thanks to all of them, really. And as Greg said, it's our words, but it's their story. There's and not just the people that have spoke to us in the book, but 10 years, on the Villa beat. There's hundreds of people that we've spoken to that have maybe said things here and there, kind word, and it's just kind of whatever. So it's thanks to them as well, because it's made the experience, everything it's been, really.
And everyone's contributed. Everyone's made a good contribution, really.
Yeah, I think when I was just on reflection yesterday, thinking about various things, and what I would have liked to have had more of, because as a writer and now an author, you're never fully satisfied, really. And just thinking, we didn't, and this was partly because he couldn't speak very good English, but we didn't get any time with Trezeguet. And when I look back and think, like, he would be he on reflection now, he would be a really good interview, I think, because just somebody who never really settled at Villa, but also had a massive impact as well in various periods, just massive goals.
Do you remember one that he scored? Do you remember, was it the League Cup semi-final? The
Yeah, against
Carabao Cup.
Leicester. Yeah.
That was it. Yeah, last minute goal. That was it. Yeah.
Yeah,
And the
then
one against Arsenal.
even more importantly in the league a bit, a few
Against
months back.
Arsenal.
Yeah, that was a massive turning point for Villa again. We go over so many twists and turns and pivotal moments in Villa's history, Villa's recent history, but that Arsenal game, is up there with one of the most important because
Oh yeah,
if they'd have lost that, it was over, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, you go back. There's been so many turning points. Well, in mine is when I come out today. I think his mind is pretty much even stronger.
Yeah, and also it just shows actually how difficult it is because you've got really ambitious clubs now in the Championship, like Wrexham and Birmingham City, who have ambitions to get into the Premier League and then succeed even further once they're there. But the only real case study of a team to have been struggling in the Championship and then kick on to the level, to the really high level, is Villa, and everything has to go right along the way. You can hardly afford any slip ups, and Villa managed to get promotion just at the right time. They stayed up just at the right time when they made a managerial error an error in the appointment in bringing Steven Gerrard in, and
You mentioned Steven Gerrard in the book.
They managed to get Unai Emery in at the right time and help them continue on that high trajectory that was just falling away slightly. So everything's gone really well for them, and there is a whole chapter dedicated, 2 chapters actually dedicated to the Gerrard era, which I think people will be really interested to read.
It's great, maybe with Aston Villa, with Emery, with Christian Passer, all the others involved. They did a great job appointing Emery. I mean, Emery, he got in the court easily gone to Newcastle. Look at it, he went to. I do remember that. I remember I wasn't told that could have happened.
Yeah, it was just before, a year before, wasn't it? A year before he went to Villa, he was linked with that's a job, yeah.
Also, going back to the book as well. I do like the cover of the book. Is that the Bayern Munich guy in the cover of the book?
It is, yeah. I think the cover's excellent. And I wish I had a copy with me now because I should give a shout out to the person who designed the cover. But it's in the back sleeve. But yeah, they're doing a phenomenal job with that. We can't take any credit for the cover. That is entirely down to the publisher and their designers. And yeah, we couldn't. And it is the Bayern Munich game with obviously the tifo, and it would have been. Yeah, I mean that. I think that sums it up because it's not one person. Because I think that it shows the stadium, the team. You've got Unai Emery and the team on the banner on the tifo, and I think that sums it. This is not. There were discussions of what do you think would be a good cover image? We were asked, what would be a good cover image, and it was difficult. There was discussion. Should it be Unai? Should it be somewhere? But you couldn't really single out. I don't think you can single out one person in the entire story. So that's why I think the cover works really well.
It describes everything really. I was actually there on that night as well. I was lucky enough to be there.
Yeah,
it was John Duran scoring.
It was I mean that was the kind of the moment where it felt Villa were back. The kind of to go and beat Bayern Munich, one of the favourites for the Champions League. That felt. I mean, I think Matt Maher in the Telegraph described it as, was it a moment 4 decades in the making, or that they waited for 4 decades? I remember reading Matt's report and thinking, I wish I'd written that after the game, but it was like, but yeah, I mean, it was, that was kind of one of those special nights. So I think everyone who was there is going to remember.
I think it's about as well.
Forever.
in the same scoreline as it was in '82.
Yeah, well, it had to
Extra
be, didn't it?
special. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So how did you publish the book?
It was through a company called HarperCollins and Harper North. So we write up the words, and then it's pretty easy job for us, other than the writing. We just send it to them, and then they get to the business of printing it all and designing that wonderful front cover.
Did you get like permission then? Do you have to like? You have to get permission like?
We sign like a contract before, yeah, which has various terms and clauses that are obviously confidential. But yeah, you know, we a contract's drawn up. They tell us what they want from us. We agree to what we want from them, and then it goes from there.
Yes. So Greg and Matt, do you think in the future you would do any other books? Do you think?
No chance.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted.
I mean, people keep asking me this, like, you know, like friends and family, like, what's your next book going to be? And I'm just thinking, maybe one of the conclusions I'll draw from doing this book, as Greg says, is that I don't want to do another one. But I mean, you never say never. I mean, I think I don't know what the story would be. I mean, I just think this was, you know, like, this was just, it was there, and it was, you know, it was like, well, you know, me and Greg were in the best position, I believe, to write this story, and it's a great story. And I think, but if again, you know, if there was, I was to, you know, cover another story like this, and I thought, you know, I could do a book on it, then yeah, maybe. But I think you know, it's been an experience for us because we've never done a book before, so it is different from newspapers and even work, you know, the Athletic as well. It's kind of, because we work day to day, every day, you hit the deadline, and then you kind of, it's done. You know, maybe the story, if it's a really good one, gets, you know, gets a bit of traction, and it's just follow-ups, and it runs for, you know, a few days, maybe a few weeks, but generally, you know, it's very much in the here and now. It's what's next. Whereas this was, you know, a longer project, which was hard to get your head around initially because it was so vast. And even though the deadline was relatively tight for the work we had to do, it's a big deadline to what we're used to. So I'm sure one of my bosses would say, you know, if you give me like so many months to do, weeks or months to do something, then I just kind of think, well, I can leave that because I know. So it's kind of, we're used to working under, you know, under pressure. And I suppose, I don't know, so it was kind of, it was a bit of an eye opener. It's been an experience, but I guess if we did another one together, we'd have a better idea of what was expected.
Yeah.
It probably wouldn't be such a stressful experience as this one was, because I think we'd know a bit more about how it works. But yeah, we'll see.
Well, I'll come to my final two questions. So first of all, how would you sum up Aston Villa's remarkable transformation since the Championship years to where we are today?
Yeah, I mean, it's quite hard to put into short words, because effectively that's what we've done in 90,000 words. We've explained the full story.
Yes.
But it has just been a wonderful journey, really, under Nassif Sawiris and Wes Edens, and it just shows that with the right owners, a football club can be transformed.
Yeah. It's a real roller coaster.
Yeah, that's not a bad, you know, it's not a bad way to describe it. It's been crazy, really. You know, it's not. It's not going to happen too many times. You know, it's not happened too many times before. I don't think it will happen too many times again. Partly now because, you know, the rules are set up to kind of, some would argue, to stop it happening. You know, clubs coming up from the Championship now, even the bigger clubs, even like Leeds this season, are going to, you know, their first battle is to stay up. I know it was for Villa, but it's so much harder then to kick on because of the way that the spending rules are. So Yeah, I mean, it's not a fairy tale, is it? Because there's been a colossal amount of money spent. There are two billionaires running the show, so it's not exactly a Cinderella story, but a lot of it has been against the odds or against the laws of probability. So yeah, it's been pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's and also, Emery at Aston Villa, he's got the keys to the castle. At least with Emery, a lot of the case, the owners and the board are giving their full backing. Get more control. That's what I like as well.
Yeah, they've backed him. I mean, they've backed him big time, and it's paid off. It's paid off so far. I mean, I think you'd say, look, missing out on Champions League for second straight season was probably the first setback. But on the flip side, I think had they made it into the Champions League again for this season, you'd arguably say that was Emery's greatest achievement so far at Villa.
Yeah.
So they weren't that far off. There's still a lot of, I think, reasons to be positive.
Yeah.
I mean, look, the flip side is to say, well, is it you give somebody so much control that can have repercussions, further down the line. At some point, Unai Emery will leave Villa. It's going to happen one day.
I like us to win a trophy. I don't think fans, they want memories to hold on to.
No, absolutely, and I mean, Tyrone Mings and John McGinn both say that in the book. That is the next. That's the next step. I mean, they got close last season. They got very close. I mean, I suppose that the FA Cup semi-final was probably one of Emery's worst days at Villa. Big opportunity missed, but the Champions League as well. I mean, they got that goal. 2 more goals against PSG.
Oh, PSG.
They could have won that. So it's
the thing is, on the night against PSG, we beat them 3-2. We just didn't get through an aggregate.
No, exactly. But that's why I think the Europa League this season is such a massive opportunity. Because there's
Emery's got a great record.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, and look, let's face it. I mean, Tottenham and Manchester United were, among the 6-7 poorest teams in the Premier League last season, and they both got to the final. So it's a big opportunity for Villa. I mean, look, they've got it won't be easy, but it'd certainly be easier to win the Europa League than the Champions League.
Well, the thing is, with Tottenham, if Tottenham can do it, we can definitely do it.
Well, no, absolutely. But I mean, look, there's it's easier said than done. But you're absolutely right. I mean, look, it'll be. I think whatever happens, it depends on what date the League Cup final is. But I think Villa are almost destined to hit the 30-year mark without a major trophy next March, which is is just simply not good enough, is it? Let's be honest, for a club of Villa's size. But they've never been in a stronger position to to end that drought. So yeah, I think that's the big thing.
We'll come to the final question then. I'm going to ask both of you. So what has been your favourite moment during your time covering Aston Villa?
Maybe having the book published, that probably would be my proudest moment, I think. I suppose as a neutral, because the success or the failures of the club doesn't really impact me, because I am very neutral. I don't care too much whether Villa do really well or really bad. It doesn't affect me. But so I'd probably pick one of the stories that I a story that I did, which was when the new owners came in, and I was able to break that news that it was Nassif Sawiris and Wes Edens taking over. Seems a very long time ago now.
It's a long time ago. It just feels like a long time ago now. What about you, Matt?
I mean, it might be last season. To be honest, I actually think it was quite a long. It was quite a long season. There were a lot of matches, a lot of press conferences because Unai Emery doesn't like. What will happen is if that a club is playing, a lot of the clubs playing in Europe. Let's say they've got a game on a Wednesday and then Saturday, they might do a press conference for their the pre-match for the Saturday game straight after the game on the midweek. But they won't. Villa Unai Emery doesn't like doing that. So that there were always, felt like I could almost. I think. Obviously, I'm not going to do this, but I did joke that I could probably drive to Bodymoor Heath blindfold. At one point, I think that I've been there so much. But if anyone's watching, it's going to think I'm going to be daft enough. But yeah, I think last season, I think that Paris Saint-Germain game felt like a watershed moment. Really, I think that was kind of when you think it hits home, kind of how special it is, because when you're kind of in it and you're kind of covering a club day to day, sometimes it's hard to take the step back and see the whole picture. So some people are saying, well, this is how incredible this is. You're thinking, well, yeah, but this is kind of at the level they're at now. But I think that PSG game, I think when they got it back to they were winning 3-2 on the night. I think I sat there.
I really thought that PSG game. I was lucky enough to go to that game. I was thinking at one point, could we actually do it? I was thinking.
Yeah. No, I actually genuinely thought that night that I could foresee Villa winning the Champions League in the next 5 years, which is crazy, which I would have never have thought possible ever, to be honest. So, and I do think it's changed. I do think it's changed the club slightly with the fan base because I think people went into that PSG game, particularly where it was after the first leg, 3-1. Well, we'll give it our best shot, and whatever happens, it's been a great experience. But I think now, once you've had that taste of Champions League,
do you want it again?
Yeah. So the supporters now, it's like, well, when's the rematch with Paris Saint-Germain? And you can only have that rematch if you get into the Champions League. So,
well, the big thing is, in the new season, that top 6 is going to get even harder.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The challenge gets no easier. The challenge doesn't get any easier, but then it's always been difficult. It's always been, Villa have never been favourites to get into the top 4, top 5. Yeah. So, and I think last season, look, it ended on a sour note, but to actually finish 6th, get to the quarterfinals of the Champions League, get to the semi-finals of the FA Cup. I mean, if you look at a lot of the teams, the non-traditional, non-so-called Big 6, when those clubs go into the Champions League, they have big problems. I mean, Newcastle went out in the group stages of the Champions League before, and that was used as a massive excuse for them missing out on Europe completely. But actually, Villa did pretty well to really maintain a challenge on all 3 fronts.
We were unbeaten at Villa Park.
Yeah,
in the Champions League.
Yeah,
which is a remarkable achievement. I mean, who knows?
Really is.
Win the Europa League. You can get a Champions League that way.
Well, I think that's one of the arguments, isn't it? It's arguably easier to get into the get into the Champions League by winning the Europa League than it is to finish in the top 4, top 5 of the Premier League. The only caveat with that is that in knockout football, it only takes one decision, one big mistake to completely scupper the whole thing. So you can't put all your eggs in the Europa League basket because you're an element of hostage to fortune. And what you can have one bad night and that's it. Whereas you've got a bit more time to correct things over a 38-match league season.
Do you not trust the process?
Yes. As Damian Vidigani would say.
Yeah. Well, thank you both of you.
Thank you, Chad.
I really enjoyed this interview. And also, I was about to say as well, can you get an audio in the book?
You can, yes. It's just it's not out yet. That version isn't out yet. It will be out. I think it's the end of August.
That's all right.
And before anyone asks,
I can't read book.
Before anyone asks, we're not recording it, so there's no worries there, right? They've got a professional voice actor to do this, so there's going to be no issues trying to understand what I'm saying or anything like that, you know. So yeah, so it'll be. But yeah,
as Greg said, I can't read books. Good is I can't turn the pages.
Yeah, the audio version will be available soon, Chad. So hopefully you can enjoy it that way.
Cool. Thank you. Well, yeah, well, thank you for your time. Just want to
Not at all. Thank you for yours.
Congratulations
Thanks, Chad,
to
we appreciate it.
Yeah. Congratulations to the Lionesses last night. They did the country proud. Thank you for bringing football home again. They showed a lot of character, a lot of resilience. I like about that team. They sort of never give up. And Serena Wiegman has built a legacy with the England team. So congratulations, girls. Okay, look, well, thank you everyone for watching. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please remember to make sure to subscribe. If you haven't, make sure to hit the like button on this video, give it a share, and make sure to leave us a good review if you're listening via audio platforms. That also helps. Also, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you so much, Greg and Matt, for your time. I'm going to wrap up this episode with Villa Forever as always, and